What is going on, YouTube? And today we're gonna be working on the DC2. And since this thing finally got back from paint, I can finally actually start using it to make some content. And the first thing I'll be doing is repairing these inner front structures. So this car was in an accident a couple years ago, and you can see all the damage that was done here. And I'll just be welding on these new front panels. So the first thing I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna start by taking this radiator support off, and then I will start drilling the pinch welds. So there's a few things like right there, these little dots, those little dots are pinch welds. So I'm gonna start drilling all the pinch welds I can drill out and then cut those pieces out. And then from there, I should start working on these pieces as well. So I'm gonna throw this down in the time lapse and I'm gonna start getting to work. Now that I have the radiator support taken off and the crash support taken off, I have a better look at these pieces here. So this side is not too bad. Just has a weird bend right here that if I didn't have the other factory piece, I wouldn't know. So I'm gonna cut it here and try to cut it here, because I'm gonna try and use the bolts to line up the other piece so I can weld it easier. This side's gonna be a little bit tricky because I'll probably have to use either these bolts to line it up, or I'm just gonna have to line it up and hope that it works, because I'm also missing a small piece from here because the cut piece I got wasn't cut all the way. It wasn't cut all the way, or it wasn't cut perfectly, I should say. So I'm just gonna start cutting and see where we go from there. Episode of trying to get this Integra to work. So far everything else has been checked, and yesterday I swapped in a new fuel pump, but then I realized there was no power going to the fuel pump at all. So wow. So, quick update on the Integra. So, since the last time I filmed, I've actually, let me show you what's been done. So, I've actually welded in the new panels. They're a bit booger welded, but they're in. This side, I'm gonna have to go over and put a reinforcement panel underneath. I guess I I sanded the metal a little bit too much and it burned right through, so I'm gonna kind of cut a bit of it out and go underneath it with some panels and try and get that a bit smoother. I know it's crusty. I'll work on it. And I also, while going through the floors of this thing, just trying to go through the floors of this thing, touch a bunch of spots that are rusted. It's just some dust. I found a small hole which turned into a big hole. So I will be chopping this out and replacing it with and just patching it with a panel. And this car is never really going to be driven in rain, snow, or anything like that again, so this should be good enough for now. Ultimately, we probably will get another chassis, or let's just see how long it lasts. Let's work on that. So, keeping it moving on the Integra project, I welded in that patch panel right there, and I'm about to grind it all the way down, but it looks really good. And once I grind it down, it will look pretty clean. And this side pretty much just got grinded down as well, and I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. Okay, so here's how my patch panel kind of came out. Not the best welds. I haven't put a grinder to it. I just kind of use etching primer to kind of get it in there for now, so I don't want any rust thing to happen. So once it dries, I'll give it a quick grind and I'll work on it some more. I'll probably have to use some seam sealer to fill a few of the gaps, but it's good enough for me. So nobody's gonna ever see this. And from the floor, you can see the giant hole is now capped off. All right, good to go. So the trunk kind of looks like shit. So I taped off the lower half in the back. And I'm gonna be painting it with a bit of black asphalt coating on the inside of the trunk. And that should just kind of hide most of the rust and leftover from the old sound deadening. I'll show you guys how it looks. So in trying to get a lot of things done, I keep moving fast and forgetting to hit the record button. But the trunk came out pretty good. I taped off the edges and I taped off the top half, sprayed it out, and it looks pretty good. I'm going to spray the rest of it in just a regular black paint. And the front I'm still working on. And now for the crash bar, since the front is about to go back together, just painting the bottom half of it, as you can see here, black. That's how they do it OEM, and the top half will be color matched to the car. And I'll show you how that looks when it's done again. Okay, so here is the finished product of the crash bars. So this one I used black at the bottom, and as you go up you can see the color match starting to show out, and then you have the pirate black color match at the top. Looks great. You can hardly tell the difference on camera, I think, but you can see the purple and all the flake there, and then as you go down you can see purple flake, and lower down black, all the places you can't see, just like OEM. And this guy, the front impact bar, is just strictly black. So I will throw those on after I'm finished working on the front. Alright guys, so it's been a while since I actually took the camera up. I was actually just kind of running through the car, and currently this is what we're looking at. That is the passenger side, fully kind of grinded down and kind of just worked a bit. Some parts I couldn't really get to, but this part will be covered by the fender, so I wasn't too worried about that. And this is the front crash bar, painted and fully on. I wish I could have matched the bay with the color of the crash bar, which is this. This is a similar color to the car right now. It's not the same exact color, and that's why I painted the crash bar just to test it out first. The reason being is because I'd have to remove a lot of things, and I'm just not ready to do that right now. But everything else came out pretty good, like really good. No complaints. It looks pretty good. As far as bolting everything on, it's pretty much a nightmare, but when everything's closed, the lines on the sides of the hood line up pretty well, and the crash bar lines up pretty well as well with the side of the support. So, all right. So tune in next time on the next episode of the Integra and RSX build. Hopefully everything goes great. But like, comment, subscribe, and have a great day.